Good morning, everybody. It's Lindsay Baker with the Action Hour every Saturday at 10 a.m. Today, I am so excited because I have a really happy, uplifting show. I have a beautiful, colorful, happy, uplifting show, and my guest is a huge part of it. And his name is Zac Lovas, and he is the co-founder of Veg Voyages Vegan Adventure Tours, and it is a vegan adventure, folks. Besides that, we're going to tell you about an amazing festival. The very first Himalayan vegan festival is coming up 2022. We have a lot to cover. Zac, thank you for being here today. You have brightened my day. Welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
How are you doing?
All things considered, doing good. Very busy, actually, which is a good thing. So
I can see you're busy. We have so many things to talk about. Like I mentioned, we have the Himalayan Vegan Festival. We have your foundation, but we love to jump right in. So what I'm going to do is share a video, because when the coronavirus hit, things exploded. People didn't know what to do. All of the tourism left. And this is what happened.
Kathmandu, Nepal is a picture-perfect setting surrounded by the majestic Himalayan mountains. A tourist destination for decades, Kathmandu calls to all types of travelers, from mountaineers scaling Everest to those looking to connect with a certain faith. It's a city of millions of stories, and this is just one of them. In March of 2020, the coronavirus pandemic had found its way to the lush green valley, and Kathmandu would succumb to a new normal: uncertainty. Within the uncertainty was travel and tourism. As the last planes departed Kathmandu and the city went into lockdown, Zac Lovas, the co-founder of Veg Voyages, vegan adventure tours, decided not to evacuate, but instead stay behind and join in the efforts to help Kathmandu's street animals and people. Within 48 hours, Veg Voyages had contacted their fellow vegan and animal rights activists in the capital and teamed up. Together, they provide vegan meals for people in need or stranded who could not get back to their village, as well as food for street dogs, monkeys, and cows who relied on people, now absent from the streets, to feed them. Wanting to ensure the proper animal diet, the team searched for a vegan dog food recipe online. Fortunately, they found recipes that had ingredients they could source locally. These recipes have been shared across the country within the activist community, inspiring other rescue programs to provide vegan food to dogs on the street and at animal shelters.
Dogs and these other cows didn't have food and didn't have anywhere to go to drink and eat. And we are feeding almost 300 dogs a day and cows 10 or 11 cows a day.
For more information, please go to vegvoyages.com/foundation.
After this is all over, this will be one of our focuses for a spay and neuter program, desperately needed here.
Oh my gosh. Every time I watch your videos, it brings a tear to my eye.
thank you. That's
It really does. The work you're doing is so amazing, and you'd think of every detail. Okay, so we've got this part. Now we've got to come back and spay neuter all these guys and get it down to a more manageable amount of dogs. And
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where do we start? So just tell us how you feel about what you've done so far and how you got into this. Just tell us, wherever you want to start. I'd love to hear whatever you have to say.
Okay. It's watching that, even because that was, I think, done. It was in May, that video, and we obviously it's continued since then. And just as of last month in March, it's been just over a year since we started. And now, from the numbers that are even on there, we've as of I was just looking on our board, we were just getting our updates from our team on the ground there. And between the amount of food that's went out, vegan meals that have went out for people and animals, it's almost 85,000 meals now served. So,
Wow.
in that amount of
Oh
time,
my gosh.
yeah,
So within the period of a year, right? Of
within
the
a period of year, yeah, within a period of 1 year,
85,000
meals,
meals
yeah,
served, not only to people, but also to animals, street
correct.
animals that are
Yeah.
left on the street. So just if
Mhm.
you could give a little bit of background of why these animals are on the street and why they need to be fed. And of course, the people and how tourism has
Yeah.
impacted.
Luckily now, during that time when they did the lockdown, it was a complete lockdown, like in many parts of the world. So all the shops, homes, everything, and a lot of the dogs there, they're street dogs. They don't go from one neighborhood to another. They hang out in one neighborhood that is theirs, but they're street dogs as well as street cows and monkeys. And then when all these shops had to shutter, then all of a sudden the people that usually open the shops would give the food to the animals, to the dogs or to the cows. They'd come by, they knew exactly where to get their food. And when they shuttered, not only that, but as you saw in some of those photos, you couldn't even drive. They had police checkpoints. So even to go from one area to another. So even if those people that had those shuttered shops wanted to come back and feed the animals, they couldn't. So what we did, this was shortly after, this is right when the lockdown was ensuing, then we got on the phone to our vegan activist friends there in Nepal. While I was in Kathmandu, and we said, okay, we got to do something, both for them as well as for a lot of people. There was a lot of people that were stranded because a lot of the workers, the labor workers and everything that even were working on the construction sites or in the other places, they all would have to go back to the village, but they couldn't because everything was locked down and they had no income. So between the people and the animals, there was a lot of people in need of food at that time. So luckily we had, or fortunately I should say, we had right before COVID happened, we had a series of back-to-back trips, and a good portion of our profits all go into our foundation, directly to the foundation. So we had the resources available to then say, okay, well, this is when we need to do something right now. So we all got together, and we had 3 different kitchens operating for people and 2 different kitchens operating for animals, serving up vegan meals at that time. So.
That is incredible. And I understand that you also were involved with cancer patients. And
Yes.
I believe, do we have a little video on that? I believe you sent one.
Yeah, I think it's a long video. I think it's like 8 minutes long or something. So, sorry.
Well, let's see. Let's run some of it.
Okay.
Hi, it's 7:30 in the morning here in Kathmandu. Our teams at Sea Vegan Restaurant are busy cooking up some great vegan food, and the team at the SPCA is cooking up the food and getting ready to distribute that out to street dogs, street monkeys, and street cows. Sea, they're going to be cooking up about almost 200 vegan meals today for people to distribute. And I am heading to the nearby vegetable market and fruit market. It's the only one that's open in this area now during lockdown. And we are putting together a week's worth of very healthy food for 8 cancer patients that are up at a cancer hospital. And they are in their, they have to stay, they couldn't do it before the lockdown. Obviously couldn't go to the village because they need to be here for their treatment. So they're in these makeshift type rooms that are near the hospital where they can go for the treatment. 8 patients and their support family that are there. They're having an obviously very difficult time before COVID happened, and with what's happened, they're having a very difficult time. More difficult time now during lockdown. Okay, here I am going up on the street. This is a very quiet street right now, you'll see. Usually it's nothing close like this. It's usually packed. You can see behind me too. Anyhow, one of the 8 patients is a young boy. He's here with his mother and father from the village. They had to sell their land just to afford a good portion of their land just to afford the treatment. He's fighting leukemia, unfortunately. And his father was working as a day laborer here to get money while they're going to the treatment to help subsidize. And obviously there's, as you can see with the road, there's no work, all shops closed, so they don't have any resources that way. The same story for all the patients and their family, the 8 patients and their family there. So what we're doing this morning is we're buying a selection, big selection, which is good, healthy selection of cancer-fighting vegetables and fruits so they can have in their meal. We've also got brown rice for them, and we're supplying them a week's worth of food every week. This is the list from last week and the receipts, because this all worked out to be, thankfully, more than enough food for them for the week. So I'll show you what all the food is later, but we've compiled the menu, so to speak, from the scouring and going over the Physicians for Responsible Committee for Responsible Medicine website. So we want to say thank you very much for providing that resource, Dr. Neil, Bernard, Zishan Ali and team, because we went through that and we're making sure they have a very healthy, cancer-fighting vegan meal for the next week. So. That pile of veggies in the back, that's what we've been putting together. Almost taking 45 minutes.
Wow, that is so incredible. What I want to talk about, the 2 things that strike me in all of this footage is the color. And when I thought of the word color and cancer and the idea of eating from a colorful palette, I'd like you to address that for us for a moment. Or 2 or 3, and also how did you come to know all of these things and be able to do this work? Like, tell us a little bit more about Veg. We want to talk a lot more about that, like these wonderful trips you can take, but oh my gosh, there's so much to cover. But yeah, tell us a little bit more background, if you would.
Okay, so when we started doing this, then the word kind of got out, and even local media started coming over to see, oh, what's happening? These people pulling up in the trucks, and then the food being served and what have you. So somebody got word of that and near the cancer hospital and said, hey, there's some patients that are over here, and they're having a very difficult time. So we went out and visited them and found out what their needs were and the backstory, and then we started helping them. And we actually, to this day, and it's going to be a continuous ongoing program for us. Now there's 9 patients, and there's 23 family members now that are still in the valley there. And we'll continue supplying the food all the way until their treatment's over, whether that's some of the patients we know are going to be there for another 3 years, some another 4 years. And we actually, even just to get all those colors, the right colors, is we contacted PCRM and Zishan Ali, and he helped us out a lot. So
that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we want to give a big shout out to PCRM because and one of my co-hosts of another show, Hey Doc, what's new in plant-based medicine, is a PCRM member. She's
excellent. Excellent.
So not remembering, but anyway, we want to give them a big shout out because that diet is so important, and the fact that you're doing this, and you just struck it in my mind. You said this program is going to continue, so as we follow the progress, I would love to have you come back as we follow the progress of these people and see how this diet heals them. We would love to be able to communicate that to everyone.
As a follow-up, the boy that's suffering from leukemia, before going on this diet, he was not. He was having to go to the hospital, be hospitalized every other week. I mean, it was very continuous. In addition to his regular treatment, after going on this diet, after a few weeks, he hasn't had to go to be hospitalized outside of going just for his treatment anymore. He's put on a significant amount of weight. He was very, very skinny. He's put on actually a lot of weight to the point where they're trying to even slow him down as far as on his weight gain. So he's actually been gaining weight, which is a great thing. And then at the same time, he's also all his counts have actually been coming down towards what would be considered towards normal. And his family was they were surprised and skeptical, and even the doctors were, but they're like, wow, we could. I mean, it's a very evident improvement in his health as well as in others, but him as an example. So we were very happy to hear that, and and other people have heard that, and they want to go get on a similar diet, which has been great.
Exactly. My next question and point, and I wanted to ask you. You said that fortunately you had more than enough to provide them with food for those weeks, and I want to make the point that a vegan diet can be very inexpensive, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
as a cure for, I'm not saying it's a cure for cancer. I'm not a doctor, I have no medical experience, but if this is a way to make people healthy and it works, and doesn't cost a lot of money, this will spread. I mean, this could be revolutionary and helping to really pivot people to, we want to get to 2026 vegan world, right?
Yes.
And I think this is a great stepping stone, because there is a global village and word does spread.
Yeah, and so we're continuing there, but then just as a follow up on what you were saying, but just one note, there was a lot of plastic there. We don't have plastic anymore. Actually, when things opened up, we were able to get these big reusable boxes, plastic boxes, but they're reusable ones. So we rotate them out, so less plastic now, because you see all the plastic on the plastic bags there. So
Yeah,
now we have ones that actually have the seal, so they keep nice and everything. So as soon as it opened up, but like what you were saying, there's the Solidarity Canteen in Luang Prabang, Laos. It's another one of the programs that we got involved with, and they had started a canteen similar to provide meals, not vegan meals. So then a friend of ours, that's the photo. And so they contacted us, and we said, hey, we would love to get involved if we can do a Meatless Monday at the canteen. So the Meatless, we started sponsoring the Meatless Monday and organizing and helping them and showing them, what items they can do and how they can go in that direction, making local food vegan. And then it became so popular, and it became a lot easier than they thought. They're like, oh, it's going to be difficult. And they're like, wait, no, it's not difficult. And in addition to that, like you had just said, Lindsay, they actually were like, wow, we're actually saving a lot of money too. so they've been able to apply that and doing more plant-based food throughout the rest of the week as well. And of course, the Meatless Monday was so successful. Then we said, okay, let's start doing a vegan Fair Friday. So now they 2 times a week, Meatless Monday and Vegan Fair Friday they have there. But the same way, they started applying it in their other meals, having more plant-based because of the economics as well, so they could get more meals to more people, which is great.
Wonderful. Any way we could turn them vegan?
Yes. I agree.
Seriously, I mean, this is a way to end world hunger. It really is.
Big time.
Yeah. But I want to backpedal a little bit and just go to your website and talk a little bit about what the Veg Voyages are all about. So let me just pop in here. There we are. So tell us a little bit about your organization. And I know from the organization, the foundation was developed, but take a step back, like how you got involved to go to this part of the world in particular, and with this culture, these cultures, it's multicultural, I realize, but yeah, talk a little bit about how you got involved and started the company, et cetera.
I originally went to India on a film project back in 1990. And I've basically been there ever since. I was originally coordinating and involved in film production, film and media production, distribution, and logistics coordinating on the ground, also for news agencies and what have you. And did that for up until about 17 years ago. Burnt out on the film business because, like, I think a lot of us that originally got into it, we thought we could try to make a positive difference and change the world, and many people could. The path that I took wasn't doing that. So realized one day, woke up and it had just become a job, and it was just about, it wasn't anything towards, our values or what we wanted to do. So we started Veg Voyages 17 years ago and we wanted to start something to help bridge cultural gaps. That was our big thing. Wow. And bring people together. There was so much when we were involved in the media and news business, which was actually separating people and pushing people apart. And we saw even on the ground level, it wasn't in addition to going against our animal, and conservation beliefs, it was also pushing people apart, and there's a lot of judgment on all sides and less understanding. Actually, the divide was getting bigger. So we wanted to do something which we could keep to our animal and conservation environmental beliefs, as well as that would be able to bring people together. So we started Veg Voyages 17 years ago with 3 trips in India, and now we do over 27 trips a year in 8 different countries. How we do the trips is basically we collaborate with local communities, and we go in with local communities and we write stories. We create stories with the local communities. And these stories, which includes with the first act, second act, and third act, classic storytelling, with the local communities. And then these are stories that our guests live during the time that they're there for.
Well, give me an example. Give me an example.
Well, it all depends.
I'm not putting you on the spot.
Okay, because each place has a different, each obviously story, each community has their own story. And the idea with these stories that we create with them is to get, to bring people having a closer kind of understanding of the communities and their history. And in that process, what people do is they realize that, hey, we have actually so much more in common than we do different. So much more on so many different aspects, and so that's what we do. So instead of it being like going to see a movie for 2 hours or going to read a book for 300 pages, we basically, people live the story for 2 weeks, usually on average. And then at the end of the story, the idea is that to hopefully help people overcome, cultural differences, cultural barriers and boundaries, and have a greater understanding of each other on both sides. It's a cultural exchange, so it goes in both directions. And of course, we eat lots and lots of vegan food along the way.
I wanted to ask about the vegan food again. Now, I know that PCRM influenced you for the cancer diet, but I see so many recipes. They look like they're recipes, traditional recipes from that area. And I would love to talk about that and maybe show a couple of pictures of that in a moment. I'm going to stay on your website let's go back to that in a minute, just because I'm here and it's easier. Okay. And just talk about the tours for a moment. So, okay.
On the food part, like you were saying, that's a great. I mean, food plays a big part in what we're doing, but for many reasons. But another reason is because food is such, like language, is such a gateway into people's culture and their history and their past and the people that they actually had contact with historically. So what we do is when we're writing the stories with the local communities, and this is a very fun part as well, is that we actually while we're writing and developing the stories with them, is we actually help them veganize their favorite family recipes.
I love it.
Oh, and it's great. So we're in the kitchen and we said, it doesn't matter. Don't think of the recipes that you make with vegetables or that you think are going to be vegetarian. Say your favorite family recipes to us. Go non-veg as far as on telling us what they are. And then with them, we slowly convert those we veganize them with them, and we're tasting them and we're cooking them all together and we're getting it as close to the actual taste as possible, to the original taste. And it's amazing because a lot of times it's just a matter of a few, 2 or 3 different ingredients not being there or being substituted, and the dish is vegan. And for a lot of people as well, a lot of the communities we're in, they're like, well, this is how we used to cook, back, or people will be like, oh, that are in the city, this is how we cook in the village more, where then they would only have like non-veg maybe, once or twice a week because of the economics and other things that were involved with it. So so that veganizing the local recipes it's in addition to tasting some really delicious food, it's just a great experience.
Okay, great. Well, I want to hear more about that in a few minutes, because we're going to talk about the Himalayan Vegan Festival and the food, et cetera. It's a huge part of that. Also, a thought just came across my mind. We'd love to have you on Lunch Break Live to do one of your veganized recipes.
Oh, thank you.
And would you maybe give us a what. I'm going to be on next week. Well, let's talk afterwards. We'll talk about that. But we definitely would love to have your recipes on Lunch Break Live, I'm sure, because I've seen them and they look phenomenal. But what I want to talk about before we leave your website is actually just to touch on, I see an orangutan tour.
Yes.
So you would actually be on an island in Sumatra and you would see orangutan.
Yes, we work with this trip specifically is with the Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program, and actually, and Dr. Ian Singleton, and so we actually work with them on this trip, and that's where that's the story and how it unfolds, and what has led to the situation, and then unfortunately the tragic problem with the orangutans and their habitat. And what they're facing, their plight that they're facing, and what the people on the front line are doing about it, as well as kind of everything else. It's all kind of intertwined. We're all involved. Like most things, like most conservation issues, it takes everybody getting involved. So that's what we do. So we begin in Jakarta, and then we head up to the island of Sumatra. We spend 3 days now out in the rainforest, where there's orangutan that have been re-released. And then we also then go to their haven, which is a sanctuary that they're making for ones that they can't re-release. Can't re-release meaning because, like one is named Lucer, who's been shot, and he had like 62 or 60 some pellets that are in him, so they can't re-release him. He's blind. Lucer's blind. And then there's another one that has hepatitis because it bit the person that had captured it. That person had hepatitis. Now, if they release an orangutan that has hepatitis into the population, that orangutan can give, obviously, hepatitis to the other population. So then we're with them 3 days and out at the new sanctuary, helping them develop the new sanctuary. And then after that, we go up actually to where my family is, the Batak in Toba area. And we spend the last couple of days there before heading back. But it's all, the stories are kind of all interlocking. And it's all related to the conservation.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is like, I wouldn't be able to do just one. I'm totally serious. And okay, do you mind if I show the dates and the dates are, I don't want to, we didn't talk about it previously. I was struck by how, it's a lot of money, but it's still very reasonable for a trip. That is incredibly reasonable. And I was just, what? So I got to get somebody. I just want someone to come with me because I'm a little chicken to travel overseas by myself. I'm afraid to go to New York. No, not really, but I like to travel with someone else. So, but I'm gonna get someone. It isn't gonna be hard to talk them into it either.
Yes, thank you.
No, for sure. I don't know which trip to pick. This one looks incredible, and all of them do. And the size of the party doesn't matter, correct?
As far as
it said something about how many people have to sign up. Do you have enough?
We don't have any minimums. We have maximums, but no minimums. So we would be like maximum between 16 to 18, depending on the trip. Some of our trips only maximum 12 people, but we have no minimums. We guarantee all our trips. So. And
that is you get to know those people intimately. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't know how, and the money, let's talk a little bit about how you fund the foundation before we get into so much more of what this foundation does. You're at the last living reef, and you're taking away all the plastic from the beach there, I believe. Is that what I saw? We got so much to go into. Let's go a little. We're going to speed up a little here, but because I want to cover everything. I'm so excited to have met you. Seriously, this is such a light in my day because there's so much going on in the world, and there's no way to help. You feel helpless, and so and I want to talk about that too. Going on these trips, a lot of that money goes into helping the foundation. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, a good portion of the profits of every trip goes straight to the foundation. And the foundation, every dollar that goes into the foundation, 100% goes into the community programs. We don't have any admin fees. We have no marketing fees. We have none of that. It actually because all the infrastructure, even the people working for the foundation, are all doing on a volunteer basis, and they're all from Veg Voyages Vegan Adventure Tours. So every dime that goes into the foundation actually goes directly into the communities, into the projects and programs. And as mentioned, a good portion of all the profits from each of our trips goes straight to the foundation. In addition to that, a lot of our regular travelers and friends, they have thankfully also been giving donations for the programs and projects that they see that we're involved with during the trips.
And that's another question I wanted to ask. How can people help if they want to, or how can they get involved?
On the Veg Voyages, on our VegVoyages.com site, I think it's VegVoyages.com/foundation. There's a foundation page there, and it goes through, and there's updates on what we're doing there. In addition to the updates, there is a donation button at the very bottom as well.
Okay, I'm going to put in the link for that.
Okay, thank you.
That will be in the comments. I'll go ahead and do that when we finish up. So let's talk a little bit more now. Do you want to talk about the festival or the foundation? Which way?
Well, they're connected. So I would love to talk about the festival as well. We're so excited about it, and the foundation is one of is helping with the coordinating and also sponsoring on some of the events at the festival. And it's something that we've had in mind for some time with ourselves and our local vegan activist friends in Kathmandu, and so it's going to be April 15th to the 20th in 2022, and it's going to be the biggest plant-based event ever in the Himalayas, and it's going to be free and open to the general public. And the whole idea is outreach and introducing people to veganism, that omnivores are also helping support local vegan activists, and just bringing everybody together. And it's a very result-oriented festival. And basically, what we're going to do is it's going to be a festival in the sense that we have a big food court area, food festival area. We're also going to have an education and animal welfare area, and then we have a big stage where we're going to have panel discussions. Panel discussions are going to be with local vegan activists, animal rights activists, conservationists, and as well as regional ones, other people from Asia, as well as from around the world. And then from those panel discussions, then we have a set of classrooms, and some of the classrooms are going to be set up in the kitchen format. So then those workshops are then going to be where the results are. So the main stage is where we're going to make the case for a plant-based diet, whatever it may be, whatever people, on all different levels that people may not be aware of with the panels. And then in these workshops, each will basically going to give people the knowledge tools and the tools that they can take home and implement directly in their house, in their schools, in their communities, in their clubs, organizations like that. So we're super excited about it. And
let's show the video.
I'm sorry?
Let's show the video.
Okay.
So people can really get a good idea of who is going to be there, and the food. Oh my gosh, the food.
The food, yes. It's going to be great.
That was, the colors, and it just looks so delicious. Yeah. Do you get to eat like that all the time?
Yes, I actually am very fortunate, and I do a lot of eating, more than I should probably. So
well, it doesn't show, so I guess it's okay,
Thank you. Yeah, but so we have even a lot of great chefs, local chefs, as well as regional chefs and international chefs that are going to be coming in and doing workshops, including on how to make vegan dairy. Curd is a big thing over there. Buttermilk's a big thing. So we're going to show on how to make the vegan versions of those. Vegan mock meat alternatives. tempeh. We're actually, in addition to making tempeh, is Dr. Tempeh. You saw Dr. Susianto there. He's one of the foremost experts on tempeh in the world. He's actually going to come in the foods. We're going to have a food science campus both in Thimphu, Bhutan, as well as in Kathmandu, where he's actually going to teach at the university how to make the culture, the tempeh culture. So then after with the tempeh culture, because soya is very readily available there, after with the tempeh culture, then the universities actually can be producing that, and then people can get access to tempeh culture locally, and then they can actually make tempeh as a meat substitute there instead of having to import the tempeh culture. And then it becomes very economical and reasonable, and it's a great substitute, and soy is very much available there, locally, grown locally.
That is just so incredible that, it's so, I don't know, it just makes me feel so happy and positive that there are solutions. It doesn't sound like going into places that are underdeveloped and underprivileged, and it seems so hopeless, but yet there's like in the locale, the solutions are there. All the people need are like a helping hand, just a little bit of help. And somehow it's not getting there through the sources. We're seeing this, and somebody's putting up Seaspiracy. We do want to give that movie a plug. But in that movie, what they talk about are these big charity organizations that are doing really nothing. Some of them are doing a lot, but in this movie, Seaspiracy, they're documenting that they're actually working against the what they're supposed to be protecting.
Yeah.
The sea life and marine life and the environment. And it sounds to me like small groups such as yourself going into these areas. You are the people that we need to support. And, and going on a vacation like this, I'm really, poor me, I have to go on this vacation. Those that can afford it, of course, many now. But those that can afford it, and believe me, I've looked at prices of vacations. This is very reasonable. So this is one way we can help. And like you say, donating, of course, sharing, spreading the word. What would you like to cover next? Anything more you want to say about the festival in terms of people? Actually, you're saying inviting people to come from all over the world. What about if people were to come? Where would they be? Where are accommodations?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to come, we do have information on the website at HimalayanVeganFestival.org. And we do, it's free, it's open to the general public, but we do have special delegate passes, patrons passes, and Friends of the Festival passes available if somebody wanted to come there and they didn't want to make all their other arrangements. So those are being done at a very, very reasonable price. So it doesn't seem intimidating to come all the way to Kathmandu or Thimphu, and all the things that would be taken care of locally, including all meals, pick up at the airports, and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a patrons pass.
How many people would you be able to accommodate like that? We should repeat that too.
Okay, we can accommodate as many people as want to come. So we're okay. We have so much local support on this right now, which is great. Even like the hotels, everybody is just really getting on board, and it's just great to see. So we're not having any. There won't be any maximum. In this case, there won't be any maximum. On our tours, there's a maximum.
And so, if this is sort of like a VIP way to come to the event, is in a way of saying. So, just go through how that would work a little bit more.
Okay, like on the patrons pass, what basically is if somebody gets a patrons pass, what it does is.
How do you get a patrons pass?
You can go on at HimalayanVeganFestival.org, and then you'll go to the attend part. There's an attend tab there. Click on that, and then there it will detail the patrons pass. And then you click on either submit the form or just send an email as a contact, and then somebody will be in contact. And the patrons pass basically covers you're picked up at the airport, you're transferred to the hotel, you'll be transferred back and forth to the venues. And your airport departure transfer as well, and then all meals are covered when you're there. We have the VIP pass to the opening ceremony night. We have a lounge there, the speakers lounge, and then you have access to the speakers lounge, stuff like that. You get a commemorative T-shirt, a water bottle, stuff like So and you get priority seating at some of the festivals and screenings. Since it is open to the general public, it's a first come first served basis, obviously on the seatings. But then if you do have one of these passes, there are a certain amount of seats that are blocked for there. You just have to let people know before, which is easy because they send out a form. And then you say, oh, I want to come to this screening. I want to come to that. And then you can come right in.
Oh, and how many people do you think will be at this festival?
We are estimating about 6,000 right now. Before it was at 3,000. Now there's so much different interest. And we have schools, which is great. Schools are interested in coming. So we're going to basically have, like, it's a field trip. So the students from different schools will be coming down for about 3 hours. When they come down there, we're going to give them a whole vegan meal and everything as well. And then we're going to have certain talks and everything based around things that they can implement in their daily in their daily diet or in their routines and what have you, including with some famous vegan athletes, including Kuntal, who's 2-time Everest summiter vegan. So it's actually now it's about 6,000 people plus are going to be coming, and that number seems to just keep going up, which we're really happy about.
Some of our best fans, Tom Vincel, he says it's better than a Lollapalooza. And Tom said I should go and I can do segments for Jane. That's not a bad idea.
Hey, I like that. That's a good idea.
If I come, a good idea, Tom. And then Tina, another one of our #1 fans, start saving up people for this. Good advice, Tina. You got a year.
Yes, exactly.
Save your Starbucks coffees. Don't drink any more. No, sorry, Starbucks, but this is a really good cause.
Yes.
No offense to Starbucks. I don't love Starbucks, whatever. I'm not against Starbucks. But think about it seriously, folks. If you could give up a couple things, theater tickets, a Starbucks, this or that, a new sweater, not that impulse purchase, in a year, how much can you save? Or, think of things like that, or gifts. It's your birthday. What do you want for your birthday? Money for my trip. It could become like, what could it become? Like a quest.
Yes, exactly. See, and the patrons pass for the 3 nights and all the meals and the transfers, everything, and the priority stuff is $225 total.
Oh my gosh, that would be foolish not to do that.
Yeah.
Especially to travel, for me, that would definitely be a yes.
Well, we hope to see you there. We look forward to it.
I hope so. I hope I can work it out. Okay, so we have some more. Let me see what we've got here.
We are almost done.
I'd
like not to use plastic bags, but they don't have any shelvings or any containers or refrigerator or anything to keep it in, so it actually does help it keep safe. Their makeshift rooms are quite open and exposed, so it does help them keep the veggies safe for a week's time near the delivery. I'm here with my good friend Sureshti, and he is going to be accompanying all these veggies out today to the patients, to their home. He's arranged where we got a special vehicle with a special pass so we can get out there. They have police checkpoints all along the way, but he'll be able to get it out there.
Anyway, that was an earlier one. I let it play a little because it was showing the food, the healthy food. For those of you just tuning in, I'm here today with Zac Lovas. He is co-founder of Veg Voyages, vegan adventure tours. It is indeed an adventure. If you didn't see the first part, go back and watch the whole video and check this whole thing out. We only touched on a couple of the different tours. Just name off a couple more of the tours people can do if they go on one of your wonderful vegan adventure tours.
Okay, we have 3 different trips that run in India, and one is in North India. We have one that's an 8-day trip called the Green Triangle, and that basically encompasses in Delhi, of course, to see the Taj, but then after that, get out to the villages into Kishangarh, and then out to the Bird National Park in Badapur, in Badapur, the Bird National Park, and then after that, that's an 8-day. That's our shortest trip. And then after that, we have another 12-day there called Veg and Out in the land of Rajputs. And we also have another one called Desert Kingdoms of Rajputana. We have another one in Gujarat, which is fantastic. It's one of my favorite of the North India trips. And we go out and we actually go to the area. The last place in Asia of the Asiatic lions. The Asiatic lions looks very similar to the lions in Africa. They used to roam all the way from Bengal to the Balkans, they say. Some people say all the way to the Balkans, but definitely up to what used to be known as Persia. And now there's only one place in the wild they're still around, and that's the Gujarat trip there, where you see the lions. And we also go to Palitana, which is one of the pilgrimage spots in the Jain religion. We also go out to spend time in a village called Muli. And then we go to the last place where the donkeys, the wild donkeys in India are, and the Great Run of Kutch. We go to the Little Run, and there they are. Lovely. And then after that, we have a trip in South India. We also have 2 trips in Indonesia. One is in Bali, and one, of course, is Sumatra, which we talked about with the orangutans. We have another trip in Thailand during their Veg Fest, their annual Veg Fest every year there. And we also have one that runs around Christmas. We have another trip in Laos. And in addition to that, we have in Nepal, we have our Himalayan Tail adventure. And then we also have a new one coming up, which goes into the Mustang region. And we have one that we're actually doing with Kuntal, which is an 18-day trek, vegan trek to Everest Base Camp. And he's the vegan that has summited Everest twice. So that's going to be really good. We have a trip in Sri Lanka, which is great. We have every year. And also our new trips in Bhutan. So
you definitely have to come back at least a couple more times to let people know about your wonderful, wonderful organization, Veg Voyage, and all voyages, and also to remind people about this upcoming event, because this is an incredible opportunity for vegans. I'm just blown away that I didn't even know about it. That's the thing that bothers me. So I want to make sure that you come back so that people find out, more people find out. And this will be we'll be sharing this out. By the way, folks, please share this out. It's some good news about vegans. Not that we have had a lot of good news, I'm thankful, but share this video out, talk about or share about the Himalayan Vegan Festival, about the Veg Tour, Veg Voyages, Vegan Adventure Tours, and all of this other good stuff. Please.
Thank you. And on the Himalayan Vegan Festival, if you check out the website, every 30 to 45 days, we're updating with new speakers. We're actually getting a lot of people that are contacting us that want to be a part of the event. So every 30 to 45 days between now and the festival, which is just about a year away, we'll be updating the list of the speakers that are going to be there as well.
That's incredible. And so some of the things that the speakers would be talking about, give us an example of, would it be, will they be giving like workshops, or would it be just like talking about their experiences, or what will they be? And let's jump, because we want to cover a couple more things that you've done, but let's just touch on this real quick.
Okay, it's going to be a lot of workshops. We will have the big stage where we have panel discussions, but it's a lot of hands-on workshops. So why it's exciting is when you do come there, there's actually things you'll be learning about. Whether that is, again, how to do a proper, how to be a vegan and have a proper fitness and health regimen, to how to make vegan dairy products vegan, to how to make mock meats, to how to set up a plant-based nutrition thing at your school, how to set up an animal welfare club in your community. Wow. So it's very result-oriented and focused workshops. So
wow.
It's going to be great. We have some great vegan chefs, great vegan nutritionists. We have some great conservation. Even Ian actually is coming from the Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program. He's going to be on our panel about animal welfare and how to help set up sanctuaries as well as re-release programs, which obviously they have a lot of knowledge in. We're going to have some great filmmakers. Keegan is going to be there from Cowspiracy and What the Health and Running for Good. He's going to be there. His films are going to be showing. In addition, we have some local filmmakers that are going to be there with their bringing stuff that they've done, films on conservation, a couple new release films on plant-based diets within India and also in Sri Lanka. It's just, so we're going to have people from all different walks of life, different professions, different organizations, and everybody getting together. So.
Oh my gosh. And colorful. Bring your colors.
And
so colorful.
And bring your appetite.
And
Please
we
bring
have
it up
some
today.
shows, the videos to show, not videos, images to show of that. Let's run through a few more images so you could talk a little bit about, how about the Vegan Sister Cities program?
Okay, this is actually a program that we started with local activists and the World Vegan Organization. And basically it's, we'll have like the Sister Cities program around the world. We have 2 different cities. They get together, the activists in each of those different cities, and they all support and encourage each other on going out and making, on helping restaurants to become vegan friendly. And we give them all the infrastructure, the things they can print out in the kitchens or in the local languages on what is vegan, what's not. They basically they bring vegan outreach directly to the doorstep of the restaurants. They then give them look at their menu, say this is how you can make these things vegan. They can make a separate vegan menu. They have a training session with the chefs, and then all of a sudden they have these pinups that are laminated. They put into the kitchens, and so they give them a course right there at the restaurant, and that encourage. And they also show them the marketability, that there are more and more, and they're going to continue to be more and more vegans on many levels, and so. This is helping the restaurant say, hey, look, this is just an extra market you can cater to, and do it quite easily. So we have the Vegan Sister City program. The first 2 are in Kathmandu and Udaipur. We also have between Mumbai and Jakarta. And that's Ian and myself. This was on our last trip where we were at the Orangutan Haven. And actually we stay at right next door at the convent. These sisters are Batak sisters, and they veganized all their Batak food. If you know any Indonesians and you ask them if Bataks could be vegan friendly, they'll be like, there's no way, but they can. And the dishes are fantastic.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the sisters loved it. And this was one of the examples. The sisters, when we were there and we were doing the veganizing their recipes before the guests came, Sister Florentina, you see on the right there, smiling, she said, oh, this is how we used to cook a lot of our dishes in the village. So they really got into it and did it. And we were having Batak food every meal, and all, of course, 100% vegan. And then the team at the Orangutan Heaven there, and that's Dr. Ian Singleton.
Wow.
That's an ulos you see there. An ulos is in the Batak tradition. They say there's 3 things that create warmth. One is the sun, the other is fire, and another is ulos. And it also creates warmth between families and communities. So,
so is that the shawl you have on? Is that what you're referring to?
that's what this one is too, yes. I have one here.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's what a nice sentiment. And then I want to show a couple more things like the reef. We want to talk about the reef and the, let's go on that one.
Okay, yeah, this is in Kayan Kearney. It's in out on the east coast. It's between Trinco and Bati in Sri Lanka. And it's one of the last remaining live reefs that actually stand a chance of living in Sri Lanka. And there it is. And the reason why is traditionally during the Civil War, it was off limits, and this was a heavily disputed area. So you didn't have the the fishermen coming in. You didn't have a lot of people that were living there that were putting a lot of stress on it. And so,
But I want to show the video file of how you're protecting it real quick, and then you'll jump in.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, so tell folks what people were doing. They were not just out there enjoying that beautiful.
Well, it was very enjoyable. As you see, there's no other boats there. You go down to the reef, you have the whole reef to yourself. It's lovely. But what we were doing is actually we were GPS marking the areas where the best snorkeling spots are going to be, because that's usually then where the people are going to want to go, where people actually are going diving and snorkeling. But unfortunately, as you can see from the video there is no mooring buoys. So they're dropping anchor, and the anchors go right on the reef. Now, that's not from people from this village, but there's a place called Pasagoda, which unfortunately has, in my opinion, development went in the total wrong direction. It's went big resorts and everything, but it's reachable by boat. So their reef and everything down on that side is pretty much gone. Actually, it's completely gone. And then so they're bringing people up to here, and unfortunately, they're destroying this community's reefs. In addition to destroying the reef, when the reef goes, so does your fish. So that's obviously what is the community's livelihood. So what we've done is we finally got permission, and we're putting in 5 mooring buoys. I think it's actually we're going up to 8 now, and they'll be at these areas. And we have in Sinhala, Tamil, and English saying that to basically tie here, and this is the best snorkeling spot, so they don't try to think that there's another one over there and they go into another place and drop it. And then what we do is then we put 3 tie downs to that. So we safely put these mooring buoys there. They can tie from there instead of dropping anchor at each of these different places.
That's so amazing. And I just want to jump in here again and remind people to watch the movie Seaspiracy. What you're bringing up about this being one of the last living reef, and it's not even being protected. Other than you are, thankfully. Thank you. But by governments, by the world, I mean, where are we thinking, folks? Watch the movie. We get spread, and a lot of our viewers, we're preaching to the choir. We have lovely viewers, but spread these videos, share these videos. Let's get this out to the general public. They think they could go on a vacation and see a lovely living reef anywhere they travel in the world. And the truth is, this is the last one, and we have to save it.
And as we know, and as the divers that are watching this too, as they know, people that watch your program that are also divers, there's reefs that they probably dove 15 years ago and they go back to them now. I mean, in Sri Lanka, even there's reefs I used to dive over 2 decades ago, and they're completely gone. I mean, just gone. And it's very depressing. And it's, I mean, just the long-term effects of, it's the short-term effects, but also the long-term effects on which direction we're going. And it's very sad.
Would they ever come back? Will they come back?
It's very difficult, unless it's very, very difficult. I mean, there's different. There's one organization we work with in Bali, that does BioRock, and they actually do electrical current charges in it to make what sustainable reefs are there. But reefs also need to be protected. They need to be controlled. And then with the water temperatures going up, it's a very difficult task. So they need to be protected, and they also need to be helped. In Bali, when we're there and we do our snorkeling and we go out, we have a whole program that's on the marine conservation and the reef conservation. And it's actually with the team, Pak Komang and his team at BioRock. And they even take us out to Menjangan Island, and they also show us where they're doing the projects and what an uphill battle it is. But there are a lot of people on a local level that are trying to fight as well. But it needs everybody's support, everybody's encouragement. Even when people go out snorkeling, make sure, do your research before and go with responsible operators. And there are responsible operators, but unfortunately, a majority of the dive and snorkeling operators anywhere in the world are not acting responsibly. But you can find them, so that's the key. Do your research before as well.
Wow. And we didn't even have time to touch on all of the other stories. So, Zac, you definitely have to come back again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all you're doing and the example that you put out there for the rest of us of how effective we actually can be. We need hundreds and thousands of you. We can clone you.
You're being very kind. You're being very kind. And we have a mantra at our foundation is that we help because we can, and since we can, we must. And it's as simple as that. I mean, we're fortunate enough to help, so we do. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. Our time is up. We have another show starting up in a moment. Folks, I want to thank you for watching. Again, please share out this video, share out the information, visit the websites, come to the Himalayan Vegan Festival in 2022. Save your shekels or whatever the word is. And I will see you next week. We'll see you next week with another amazing show. Thank you so much, Zac, for being here today.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, and thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.